Welcome back to the Square. I am your host, Curtis the Fifth.
And I'm Curtis the Fourth.
NFL sucks, ref sucks, everything sucks. We'll get into it. Oh God, what a week! Bad football was played. I got a ton of picks wrong in the game picks. We are officially tied back up after I crunched the numbers. Officially. And
we got a one game discrepancy, but
we'll talk about it, and we'll get all into it. That's for down the line. We have some other more egregious BS to get to before we even touch on that.
Rule you made to me?
I guess it's payback. No, God, this was a tough week to get through. We're gonna recap week 9. Gonna spend some time on a very specific game that I think you all are aware of, and some other ones that were quite bad. We'll get into some week 10 news. We'll touch on some mid-season awards and get into that whole jazz. Week 10 power rankings, discussing the top 10 as we always do, and we will make our game picks for week 10 as well. So let's dive into it. Let's get into week 9, and let's just get the BS out of the way. Let's get straight to it. Last night, Monday night's game, that was horrible.
That was a sham.
That was... And we'll get into it in the news section because I got some stuff to talk about and get off my chest when it comes to these refs. And I don't want to get into the refs too much just yet. I do want to first say congrats to the Steelers for getting a win, being handed a win in that regard, 5-3. They're right in the thick of things right now with that AFC North division. But man, the refs screwed over Chicago. Chicago screwed over themselves as well. Some of those penalties were absolutely legitimate, and it's just that's mental mistakes that you can't have in a game that is that tight.
Yeah. After
you have fought so hard emotionally to get back into this game, you just can't make those silly mistakes on the defensive side of the ball, and I think that's where they really missed out on guys like Eddie Jackson, Khalil Mack, Alec Ogletree. Danny Trevathan didn't really step up as a leader to kind of take charge. Roquan Smith kind of tried to do it with his play. I mean, he had a pretty fantastic game himself. But the Bears dropped this game 27-29 on a last second kick that just did not have enough leg on it. He was true straight down the middle, but he just did not put enough on it. Cairo Santos, that is. Chris Boswell, he hit three total field goals, 250-plus yarders.
After missing his PAT.
Yeah, that was what he missed, a PAT that made it pretty interesting at that point in the game. Man, David Montgomery's first action back off the knee injury looked mighty fine. I will say so myself. Cole Kmet had his kind of coming out party along with Justin Fields having a fantastic day. Really took charge of this game, and he was doing everything he could to put them in positions to win this game.
Yeah, it started out very ugly.
But, the first quarter was horrid.
Yeah,
but
by the time he got to the mid-third, he righted the ship, and he was kind of rolling.
I'll even say that last drive of the first half was pretty damn impressive.
It was, and then came the boo. The terrible towels started flying all over the place.
No, the first BS call happened right then and there, where who was it? Cole Kmet in the back of the end zone, or was that Jimmy Graham in the back of the end zone? It was Graham. Where they call it back off of such a borderline call to call a low block penalty. With this new rule that you can't do any low blocks outside of the tight end box.
Oh yeah, but he was out of the box,
and he didn't make contact. They were in the box. He didn't make contact with TJ Watt rather, and it had no effect on the play. TJ was never going to get to Justin Field on that play.
No, is it a stretch to say? It just seems like in using that play for the refs, they seemed like they over anticipated what they was ready to call, as opposed to not even watching the play and and then come throw the flags.
I
And
know that was a theory that I've heard today on the radio. And the funny thing is that NFL radio has been the most like the Sirius XM NFL radio I'm speaking of. They have been the biggest criticizers I've seen of
really
of the refs,
didn't
which
catch any of
I did not expect when I was on my way into work this
You
morning.
telling me Jim Miller and what's his other name?
Pat Kerwin, I think.
Pat Kerwin,
Yeah.
yes. You say, oh wow, I don't know. They might be in office right now.
Yeah, no, they were going after those refs a little bit on some of those calls, and rightfully so. Like that one right there kind of kicked it all off for me. I mean, outside of the fact that the refs weren't calling holding penalties on the one of the worst offensive lines in the NFL, I will say they were fair about the holding penalties because it was happening on both sides. And they weren't calling holding at all this game. I don't think I saw a single holding call.
You want to know when it all really started? It wasn't. You remember the little tussle? I forgive me why I'm not getting the defensive player for the Bears right now. Remember they got into the little scuffle between the offensive lineman and the Bears defensive player?
Oh, Angelo Blackson. I know what you're talking about.
Right. And then all of a sudden there was two offsetting penalties. And
yeah.
You're sitting there watching the entire play unfold, and then you don't throw a flag until finally the Bears defender fights himself off the defender who wouldn't let his jersey go whatsoever. I'm like, if anything else, I mean, no pun intended. Is that not taunting? Just to what I'm saying, you're not letting the player go. You're not letting you're saying you're impeding the play or the play to move on. To reset the plays and reset the downs and so on and so forth. But to stand there, I mean, it's clear as day. No one's in your way. You just watched it, and then just there goes the flags. Well, we're gonna offsetting penalties. Well, what's the hell is the purpose of the flag? It's just a waste of damn time.
Yeah.
As you're ignoring the initial penalty in itself. I'm just saying it was inconsistent. Began there, and it just oh my god,
it spiraled out of control. But it's just tough when you're beating yourself and you have to fight the refs and you have to fight the terrible towels and playing at Heinz Field. Like, Chicago had every opportunity to come back and win this game, and nothing went their way down the stretch. I mean, even on the go-ahead touchdown,
right?
Like, that entire drive was just every single play was tooth and nail. They had to fight to get down the field. There is no easy, let's get into a rhythm, let's hit here, let's hit there, let's keep it going. Outside of the very last drive where we missed the field goal, there was no rhythm to the offense because every single time they make a play, flag, whistle, stop play, go to review. It just did not, in nothing went like
all positive plays, all positive momentum plays got called back. Every last one of them, and there was nothing to build off of. Which the miracle is, how in the hell did they even get 27 points out of this? With a game being officiated
Justin
the way it was
Fields,
being officiated,
man, he. I mean, as much as this game was so hard emotionally for me to watch this and to figure out how this team got cheated out of a major pivotal win.
Mm-hmm.
The solace that I take from it is Justin Fields looked fantastic. We have a goddamn quarterback. Like, this dude came out he outplayed the legend Ben Roethlisberger in a head-to-head matchup. He just completely outplayed him in his house.
He said the legend.
In the grand scheme of things, this dude is going to go down. He's going to go to the Hall of Fame. He's been in the league for God knows how long. He should have been out 3 years ago, but he's still here. And he made some plays last night.
He did.
But he also cost his team. And it's just so frustrating to be a Bears fan.
Look no further. We already stated it. We really don't have to go past the officiating. I mean, to really go into these numbers, it's kind of tainted based on what these refs were doing, and basically they was controlling the momentum of the flow of the game. I mean, they controlled it from start to finish, and it's
the disparity
to break this down is so frustrating because it's like nothing was real, kind of thing.
The
Nothing.
disparity comes from this. I mean, yes, Chicago has one of the, if not the worst offensive lines. Fair. Same can be said for Pittsburgh. The fact that Pittsburgh only had 5 penalties for 30 negative yards compared to Chicago 12 penalties for 115 yards. That's not only saying that the penalties themselves were going against Chicago, that is clearly yardage wise, there's no way 115 penalty yards you can overcome that. On top of the fact, like, if you take that into consideration and you combine it with the offensive numbers from each team, you look at Chicago had 414 total yards of offense compared to the 280 out of Pittsburgh, where Pittsburgh had 34 minutes and 5 seconds of possession, and Chicago only had 55. But Chicago was still able to tie it in first downs. They weren't that effective on third down. And then you go ahead and you look at the penalty yards, and it's 115 to 30. That is a massive disparity. That's an 85-yard difference. So you just add 85 yards onto Pittsburgh's total yards, and you're looking at 365 yards compared to Chicago's 414.
It's you already know it's virtually damn near
Completely
impossible to win when you got these kind of you're getting penalized like this in a game.
You lose a game where you averaged 7.1 yards per play. When was the last time we've seen Chicago average 7.1 yards per play?
Super Bowl shuffle.
This is efficient football.
Right.
This was Chicago squandered the best offensive outing that they've had all season long for one, possibly over the last two, well, definitely over the last 2 seasons, but even dating back to 2018.
Yeah, man, this is a rough one. Sorry, we discussed this last night. It just the refs just completely took this game. I mean, stole. I mean, I don't even know if they ever even gave the Bears a chance at this, because at no point did the officiating even out. It mellow out a bit or anything. It was in spite of what's happened. The Bears kept coming, and it's deflating. And that's what's I know we're giving our time to this, but this is a hard segment.
This is why I wanted to start off with it.
Everything we're talking about is just it's all in vain, based on 6 refs. I don't know how what the crew is, 7, 8, 9 of them guys just standing around, just ready to just throw the flag for everything. Wherever the wind blew, flag's coming out. Man adjusts himself, flag goes out. The man shift just a little bit. Another flag. It looks sideways. Look at the other team opponent's sideline, flag. What are you talking about? Incidental bump when I turn around because I don't see you, because for whatever reason you standing right in my path. Flag. I don't even know if the two even
Tony
matter.
Corrente needs to be freaking suspended. The head ref needs to be suspended. I said to you last night when you called me, I said everybody needed to be fired. I do still believe Tony Corrente needs to be fired for this. Like this specifically, like I haven't seen him. Like most of the time when you have Tony Corrente, you're like, okay, it's just a normal rep. Like you're not expecting anything.
Right.
This outing specifically, you had no control. Plus, you went out of your way to make contact with Marsh, and for what reason? Like, you're telling me that was just an awkward incidental bump when you're flaring out the wing there to try to make contact with him, and when you miss with the wing, you stick your ass out to make sure that you trip him?
He slipped like right up under him.
Yeah. The hell was that?
And the defender, to his credit, never seen him. He turned the
He
opposite
turned
way.
and he was just right there.
Right. He turned and he's standing right there.
And the entire time, I mean, outside of the little butt scoot back, he would have never made contact because he was trying to get out of Tony Correnti's way. Tony Correnti was taking steps forward towards the line of scrimmage, and he was like, all right, I'm going to just ride this line straight to my sideline, and he walked straight back into him. And it's like...
yeah, this is bad. I mean, if anybody's seen this game, and this is... Put fandom aside, and we just talking about strictly X's and O's.
Take the colors,
for the
take
love
the
of
numbers,
football.
take everything away.
Right.
Just you're watching these two sides, black versus white, come in, go head to head, and you get this outcome where you're looking at this game. It was absolutely egregious. Don't even get me started on protecting the goddamn quarterback, because you're gonna call a roughing the passer on Ben Roethlisberger when he barely got touched. But then on
a routine tackle.
Exactly. But when you have Minkah Fitzpatrick drive his shoulder into the back of the head of a Justin Fields who is clearly giving himself up 2 yards beyond the line of scrimmage. Oh, just because he's athletic and he's a runner, he gets no protection outside of the pocket. All right, fine. He's a runner. What about the next play or 2 plays later when he threw the ball and I don't even know who that defensive lineman is who comes around the corner and takes 5 extra steps to hit and lay out Justin Fields, but then not get any sort of a call on that either.
No flags, no whistles, no nothing. They just keep playing.
The left tackle, I felt bad for the left tackle because he made the block. He fought like the left tackle, I think that was Wilkinson. They had finally protected Justin Fields. They made the perfect play. They let Justin Fields have the amount of time that he needed to get the ball out and get the ball moving down the field. They do all of that just for the defensive lineman to hit him anyway, and he's looking at the ref like, I did my job. You do yours. Throw the damn flag or get this guy out of the game, because that was a cheap shot. Yeah. And for Justin Fields to look over, and he kind of did the Joe Burrow. I'm not getting that call tonight. Whatever, screw it. Right. And he went down, and they scored anyway. But the refs did not protect Justin Fields last night. They did not. They weren't fair and impartial. I
know. Breathe. We were robbed. I'm sorry. If you're an NFL fan, you were robbed. And you could be like, I don't really care and this and that. Okay, just understand.
This happens. This is, if you don't get upset about this, this is at some point going to happen to your team.
Exactly.
And this is why I have been pounding my desk every day for us to have refs be full-time freaking employees of the NFL so they can get the damn training that they need in the offseason.
Yeah.
So crap like this doesn't happen, and you can hold them accountable. Because you can't, they're part-time employees and that are getting paid $200,000 a goddamn year to go out and do this on Monday Night Football?
Yeah, they could have saved it. This was a waste. What was a good game? Yeah.
Ruined.
That was completely deflated at the end. Like, you got to be kidding me. I just wasted 3 hours of my life watching nonsense. Not, and I don't know any self-respecting NFL fan who who either sits on their couch on Monday nights or, flip the bill to pay these expensive tickets to go out to these stadiums and risk their, health and safety and so on and so forth to watch something like this. A complete debacle of officiating. And that's the sad part. It's supposed to be talking about football, and all we're talking about is the officiating, because you can't really even talk about football because they completely robbed the game from the fans. Literally. I don't know what the agenda was or who this is in favor of ultimately, but damn, it would. If you can't say that, if this isn't obvious, I don't know what is.
We'll get more into the refs later because I have a way of fixing this whole thing. I've written out a full game plan for it, so we'll talk about that in the next segment.
Got it.
Let's discuss some other less emotionally draining games. Let's go back to Thursday. Colts dominate the Jets. This was a much different game than what the last score kind of says. 45-30. The Jets were never in this game. They got 2 touchdowns in garbage time. They were completely ramrodded by the Colts here. Jonathan Taylor looked fantastic. Did you see Jonathan Taylor's stat line?
Mm-hmm.
Rushing wise, specifically, 19 carries. He had less than 20 carries and still got 172 yards and 2 touchdowns. Absolutely, Razan, congrats to you. He carried you. Got a win on my. I already knew my week was over when I saw that on Thursday. But yeah, he played fantastic. And then, I mean, in his passing stats, I mean, 2 for 28. 2 targets, and he got a 20-yard reception out of it. So he kind of dices him up in both aspects. Naheem Hines had himself a day, 6 carries, 74 yards, and a touchdown himself.
This was arguably, I just want to say quickly, this was arguably for me one of, if not the best game that I was able to see and witness this week. And I mean, that's saying a lot because I'm not a big fan of Thursday night games at all. But this one, I was more into this one. I probably was in any other one on Sunday. And specifically, I was into it last night on Monday, but that wasn't the game at all.
Yeah. No, I mean, best game of the week. I mean, arguably, man. I think there's one game that might have been better.
Exciting. That was definitely most exciting. I don't know if it's the best. I mean, best is subjective.
Well, when you're looking at good football, I mean, I did like I did like to see the good football played by Indianapolis, but the Jets didn't show up to play. So
Jets, what do you mean?
That's one thing. But I'm saying, like, there's some games that were pretty close, tightly contested, and both sides played fairly well. You got the Chargers versus the Eagles, Ravens versus the Vikings. Those were good games.
Yeah.
I mean, arguably, Chicago-Pittsburgh was a good game if you take out the refs. Literally, you play that game without refs. That game is one of the best games of the week.
Yes, we would have had a wonderful rookie sensation come from behind victory, and that would have began, I think officially the Justin Fields era, on a positive note. But
yeah, I mean, I think it's starting out. I mean, he's gonna have some calluses on him. Yeah, he's gonna come out and be pissed off, and not to say that this is a good thing, because this I don't want to spend too much time going back onto this, but things like this happening are not good for the NFL. Games like Chicago versus Pittsburgh on a Monday night primetime game are not good for the NFL.
No,
but
not for what they just displayed. They may want to, tuck and hide that away somewhere in the 12 o'clock games. On Sunday afternoon.
No, you can get away with it then, but when everybody's watching, that's not okay.
Exactly.
Cleveland looks like they're a real team without Odell. 41-16, absolutely dominated the Cincinnati Bengals in this game. So that is going to be that's going to be a statement game for Cleveland. They're coming out there. They've got themselves a quarterback who had a damn near perfect game. Nick Chubb, what they ride their offense through. And Donovan Peoples-Jones and Jarvis Landry will just carve you up, especially. I mean, I just don't understand how they're doing it without Odell.
The same way they've been doing it when he was on the team.
Well, they haven't been doing it with him on the team. That's what I'm saying. The first 3 weeks he wasn't there. They played fantastic football. He comes back, the team completely falls apart. He's now back out of the lineup, and they had one of their best games of the season.
True. I'm waiting on the 30 for 30.
Yeah, we need to get some information on this.
Or Hard Knocks next year or something. Something. Explain what the hell. Something's going on more deeper than anything that I speculated. But there's actually obviously his situation there was toxic at some point. Not saying that Odell Beckham was toxic, but just that was not a good marriage between him and Cleveland. And this Baker Mayfield. And I'm nothing against Baker Mayfield, but they couldn't be more, him and Odell, more. You couldn't compare them anything closer than oil and water. They don't mix at all. And I've seen it. I've been watching it for several years, and I've been saying it from day one because it's Odell Beckham. I'm like, for him to have a drop off, it's like he could have a couple of bad games. But when I seen a whole season, second season go by, he's injured, and something's wrong over here because there was never an urgency to get him going at any point of his tenure here.
My question is, why did they trade for Odell if they were going to use him in that way? I mean, obviously, Hugh Jackson didn't fit over there. It just wasn't working. Freddie Kitchens was a horrible hire. So those are two failed seasons right there.
If nothing else, it could have been nothing more than a PR move at the time.
I don't get it. It just doesn't make sense to me why you would go out of your way to hamper your franchise there. Arguably the biggest upset of the week, Denver taking on Dallas and walking into Jerry World and absolutely spanking.
We can argue that. That's a big one, but I don't think it's the biggest. But yeah, okay. I mean, it does make the list.
I do know there's
it
one,
does make
one
the list.
bigger than that.
There's two.
Yeah.
There's two out there that's going right. Two that rivals this. I'll put it that
There's
way.
one that's absolutely bigger than this.
Pick any of the three, but that's one.
I don't know what the third one is. Oh, fair. Okay. Gotcha.
No secrets here. Monday night game.
Yeah. All right. Technically it wasn't an upset, but
yeah,
by technicality. Yeah. But Denver looked good finally. First time this season they looked good.
John Elway on this team last night
Teddy Bridgewater. Man. And this is the Teddy Bridgewater I've been talking about, that because he didn't do anything special. I mean, he had 250 yards for one touchdown. He was 19 for 28 passing.
Shameless plug. Is this the same Teddy Bridgewater you tried to trade to somebody in the league that just refused to get him, took a lesser deal, and lost?
Yes.
Okay, moving on.
Same Teddy Bridgewater.
You know who you are, sir.
And then Tim Patrick. I've been talking about Tim Patrick being quietly one of the best third option wide receivers in the NFL. I mean, granted, right now he's a number 2 option, being that Jerry Jeudy and Cortland Sutton.
I dabbled with him a couple times this year, and he's a real deal. I was like, he's that dude over there. And so they have three stud wide receivers, and KJ Hamler. We'll see. But I think they just got a really nice.
KJ Hamler's not the 4th option. Noah Fant.
I'm talking about for the wide receiver designation. But with that being, and I digress. But I will absolutely. I mean, they just have a very nice receiving core. Added Noah Fant, which COVID right now.
But when he is playing, he's
in the game.
Pretty nice. No, I think that they had a fantastic game. That is a defense that we have been talking about quietly being a sleeper defense that's going to be tough to score against. But, gosh, Dallas's offense just completely fell apart. You see Zeke goes out for a little bit, and they can get nothing going. They weren't able – the plays drawn up on 4th down early in the game, I think is what killed Dallas. You had 1 4th down. The play just didn't make sense. Why? I'm not even going to get into it. It just was a bad play call, and you knew you weren't going to get that 1st down based off of that play, so that one's chalk. Mm-hmm. The next one is just a bad throw by Dak because he's just trying to make something happen, and it's like, okay, is this kind of how this game is going to go? And you can see that it's that doubt starts to creep in, and they're just like, okay, we just gotta play to halftime, make it respectable, and we'll come back out in the second half and see what we can do. When you keep saying that, and then you say, okay, well, let's just get to the 4th quarter and we'll change something up here, and let's get to the last 2 minutes. No, let's you just keep saying it, and it's just like, okay, at some point you got to show up, and they did in the last 22 minutes, two and a half minutes. Yeah, they scored 2 touchdowns.
I mean, you want to spot a team 19? I mean, if you that bad. I mean,
they spotted them 30.
Oh, they got them the 4th. They did. I'm going. I was based on your going into the 4th quarter, but yeah. Okay, when I last looked, I don't know Dallas. When they looked around, I didn't see a Chiefs arrowhead symbol on anything on their uniforms, and
they did have that special stripe for Salute to Service weekend.
Okay. So with that, it did not work. So it was just one of those. You got to give yourself an opportunity to win the game. And what the hell? I mean, why did they come out? I didn't see the game. I just couldn't understand what I was looking at as I was following stat tracking the game, and I'm like, what in the hell is going on with Dallas's offense and
like I
what is
said,
going on with their defense? Because
the defense. This is what I think I was saying earlier this season, and they have been playing above what that defensive talent level is all season long.
right,
And it's kind of one of those Stephen A's just waiting for an accident to happen to this defense to completely just fall apart. But this really affected the offense. I think those 2 4th downs early in the game, they just gave up after that. They're like, okay, it's not working in these situations. Nah, because they weren't like 4th and 7, 4th and 15. They weren't anything crazy. It was 4th and 1 and like 4th and 3. Like very, like literally what you're supposed to do is just turn around, hand the ball to Zeke. That's 3 yards. He'll fall for 3 yards. Like I think that's where they were just like, okay, they're not gonna let us have those. And okay, do we keep just trying it or do we switch it up? And I guess they just really never chose a direction to go when their initial game plan failed.
What was their initial game plan?
I mean, they were driving the ball early. I mean, it wasn't like the ball, like they were getting stuck at their own 20. I mean, they were in plus territory in both of these situations. They were driving the ball, just like, okay, 4th down. We're not going to just give up on our drive. We're not just going to punt the ball to you. We're going to make sure you feel this pressure. And that's why they kept going for it on 4th down. I get the idea, but if you're going to do that, you have to come up with better play calls on 4th down.
Right. Yeah. But with that, Denver. Congrats, they did not. I know we got them slated last in the AFC West, but they are trying to be a tough out here.
I still do.
And they are no. Hear me out. Didn't say that they wouldn't.
Yeah.
I'm saying they're prolonging the inevitable here.
Yeah.
At this 5-4, which is like, are you seriously got 5 wins? But my point being is they just prolonging the inevitable here. It's like, look, eventually y'all gonna continue to fall. But I mean, they did.
I will say there might be an opportunity for them to grab 3rd place in this division, and we'll talk about it in a second with who I think will slip. But yeah, I think Denver does have a now open door at that 3rd spot. But anything higher than that, they can have aspirations for that 7th seed wild card spot. Anything higher than that is just you are Icarus. Just you're trying to fly way too close to the sun. You're not getting there. Right. But congrats. This is a big win for them, and for a young team, that is a statement win. So that I will give them all the props in the world for that. But I do think this is an anomaly. I think it's an anomaly in the sense that Dallas's offense is not going to look like that for the rest of this season.
No, and
defensive wise, they might.
Could be. I don't know if it's going to be like this.
Yeah.
But considering what they've been able to sustain the majority of this year.
Yeah.
Their defense is obviously much improved.
I mean, it's much harder to get worse. So
they had to be 32 last year. I mean,
they had to be 32 for the last 30 years.
And I mean, and Houston probably took 31. So they just sewed up. Texas just sewed up the bottom. But with that being said, every team is going to is susceptible to having a game or two like this per season. We're going to get into a couple of upsets. We'll prove that.
It's same thing. Yep.
But this was one of them, and which was funny because I was following it for a moment, and then when I came back hours later, I'm like, where did they get 16 points from? I was
last
done.
2 drives of the game.
I thought it was 30-0. I'm like, I got to walk away from.
I thought it was too. I mean, I got guys on that team on my fantasy team, and I was like, okay, it's a wrap. I walked away. Come back and look. I was like, oh, Dak's got 18 points.
Got him 2 quick touchdowns and some. I mean, garbage time. Yeah.
Complete garbage time touchdowns.
I mean, I know it's kind of hard when they like getting. They're getting upset at home, but yet they're still trying to play for pride. Just we got to salvage something. But yeah, theoretically, still was garbage time.
No, it was not theoretically. That was 100% garbage time for them. Because they did get Mike McCarthy got in a little bit of hot water for even having him still out there for those last couple of drives. At that point, it's like you're not scoring 30 freaking points in 6 minutes. Like
McCarthy was not taking a blowout. So
no,
he refused.
I mean, they made it respectable with those last ones. Anybody who hadn't watched the game and hadn't been following the game and saw 30-16, there's I wonder when it all fell apart. It fell apart at the beginning. So
Exactly. Get that first half in there. It's a whole different game.
yeah.
But
All right, but speaking of Texas, Houston goes on the road to take on the Miami Dolphins, the battle of the trashiest teams in the NFL right now.
power rankings 31 versus 32.
There is a 7-game losing streak on the line for both teams here that they both wanted to snap, and the home team pulls it off. And I think that was the only reason why you picked Miami in this game, was because they were the home team.
Doesn't matter when you get it right.
Yeah, you got it right. 17-9, trash game.
Only factor that mattered.
I guess I didn't take into consideration that Jacoby Brissett was going to be the quarterback and not Tua Tagovailoa. So
It could have been Mike White.
Yeah. Oh God.
Jr. So I've been like, yep, going with Miami because they're at home. Didn't have much to go off of this. I mean, we kind of discussed it last week. Wasn't much to discuss.
No.
Just, man, flip a coin. Seriously.
Exactly.
I take no solace in, I got this pick right. Okay.
It was a 50-50. You picked the home team, and we moved on.
A literal 50-50. Like, who cares?
Yeah,
Either way.
I don't think anybody watched this, even if you were in Miami.
Complete toilet bowl.
Atlanta takes on the New Orleans Saints last week. And they pull off an emphatic 27-25 win. This one hurt because, man, Trevor Simeon tried to make himself look like a starting quarterback in the NFL in the fourth quarter of this game. And Matt Ryan decided to Matt Ryan and be just, I'm a fall apart in the Super Bowl type Matt Ryan in the fourth quarter. And then all of a sudden, last 5 minutes of the game, Matt Ryan's like, you know what? I'm Matty freaking Ice. You know what? I got Cordell freaking Patterson on the outside over here. I'm going to make them pay. And goes out there. And
he has the nerve to step out of bounds line. Like, dude,
he couldn't keep his balance.
Man, take a V8 or something. I'm like, what is all this running to the side? Equilibrium is completely off. Like, what is wrong with you?
He had to do that whole like circus contortionist grab.
I watched him like, look at this dude. He can't. It just looked like
he's tall. He's too tall to be a running back.
You've seen it on the highway at some point. Somebody has to take the breathalyzer test and go walk the. Oh my God, dude, you're going to jail.
Hey, they got the field goal. Young Oku
complete
coming out there just drilling it straight down the middle to get the win there, and to crush all of the souls in New Orleans there in the Superdome. I think that's the other big thing, that this was in New Orleans. And that fan base was it was loud in that stadium at the end.
Is it really just hear me out. Is it really an advantage when they're two dome teams? I'm just saying, like, is there really an advantage at that point for them?
No, I think there is, because it's a difference in the fan bases. Atlanta's transient fan base, it doesn't really get up at Mercedes-Benz until it's really about like a concert.
Right.
Like that stadium does not get loud. You're not really like the fans aren't really a factor in that stadium. Whereas in the Superdome, I mean, there's no shot. I mean, just you guys don't get loud in Atlanta.
No, I know.
Until you see Quavo come out, you're not getting excited for Matt Ryan and Kyle Pitts and Cordell Patterson. They just aren't.
If it ain't got anything to do with the Braves,
fair.
There's no excitement. I'm saying this is historically.
Yeah, no, I get you.
I've seen many of Hawk games in the 90s, in the heyday.
Exactly.
Golf claps.
Yes.
Like, what in the world? This is why y'all the AFC getting trounced out in 3 games to Chicago. So
yeah.
And moving on.
That's all it is.
The Atlanta fan base, it's very transient. Nothing wrong with that. I get it, but it's like the Miami fan base.
Until they're in the playoffs, they're not going to be excited about it.
Yeah, it's just it's a very hit or miss. Hey, got nothing to do tonight. Let's go to the Falcons game.
Exactly.
What? Like, okay, get the tickets right at the gate.
Yeah.
Really?
I mean, it's not a shot. It's just that, but also that team hasn't given you a reason to really be that excited since 2016.
Not even.
So
that's dude. Don't even.
Yeah, but I think that's the difference between the Saints, the Atlanta fans and the Saints fans, because Saints, they show up no matter what is going on.
You answer this for me. Which one is the bigger stat here? The shocker of shockers. Trevor Simeon's 249 yards and 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, got a sack, whatever. And I mean, resurging his career basically is
Yeah.
showing like I belong and I'm here. Or we going to the other side. Mike Davis, leading rusher,
Yeah.
9 for 13 yards, and they still win the game.
Well, yeah.
What the hell?
Wait.
That's I'm only saying that to New Orleans defense. Like, what happened, and how did this happen on y'all watch? Because
Wow.
I know I am not, big on I don't really have a feel per se as to tendencies as to what New Orleans would do from week in to week out, which I don't. However, if I didn't know anything else, the only consistent thing that I've seen over there was that defense.
Yeah.
Like, it's not the greatest defense, it's not the worst defense, but it's a very good, solid defense, regardless. And what the hell?
Well, it was Cordell Patterson to Matt Ryan to Cordell Patterson hookup was what diced up this New Orleans defense. I mean, 6 receptions for 126 yards.
Beautiful.
I mean, 64 of those came off of one play for sure, but
Right.
still, I mean, that means for the other 5, that's another 60 yards,
That's
which
a solid
is
game for anybody.
5 for 60 in receiving, like for a running back.
But that's on the receiver. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
he's a dual threat. I know.
Right. I'm just saying he started as a receiver, but you know.
Well, even when he was in Minnesota, they were toying with the.
Oh yeah,
putting him in.
from day one, they've been doing it. And then Chicago,
They wouldn't throw him the ball; they would just jet sweep him.
And then Chicago wouldn't use him as a receiver and use him solely as a running back. And then Atlanta got smart and said, "We'll do both."
Yeah.
Kudos Atlanta, because I mean, good lord.
Yeah, I think I said it last week or the week before, but Chicago losing him, that was actually pretty big this offseason. I was upset about that.
I'm upset now because I didn't care at the time. Because
at the time,
the way they were using them, I'm like, you know what, you keep them, don't keep them. It didn't matter.
But I saw the potential, and then they also didn't go super hard to go get like a Kenny Golladay or Chris Godwin or like any of those guys. They didn't go out of their way to make sure that they got another guy. That's when I was like, okay, you didn't go get your number one options, and then the dude that you did have on the roster who already knows the playbook, you let him walk too. What are we doing? But we need another guy. Come on, we goddamn sure could have used him last night. Not gonna get into it.
No, we got that other guy. His name is Justin Fields. He's gonna be 2 and 3.
I'm talking about another weapon for him to throw to.
Justin Fields gonna have a play where he throw it to himself.
True.
You'll see. It's gonna be a flea flick.
But David Montgomery and the Wildcat, that was nice to see last night.
David Montgomery on the field is just nice to see in general.
Yes, you're right.
I'm having to be an apologist.
You know what I'm pissed off about that, though, is Matt Nagy, stop freaking lying to me. I could have played him this damn week.
Yeah, they were toying away with we don't know if he's gonna be on a snap count. We don't know how much we'll use him. We'll just give him a couple of reps out there.
Well, no, it wasn't even that. It was a game time freaking decision to play him in the first place, and I was sitting here like, okay, well, now all the reports are you're leaning towards sitting him for this week. So I was like, you know what, screw it. I'm just gonna go with my guys on Sunday, and then Monday at 3:00 when I'm ready to clock out of work, I checked my notifications one more time. David Montgomery activated for Monday Night Football. Will play. Will be the starting running back, and will not be on any sort of a pitch count. Are you kidding me?
Yeah,
you knew he was healthy then.
Yeah, any Khalil Herbert owners, man, we got robbed.
Yeah,
4 carries. That's all. Just like the Kareem Hunt thing. I'm just saying it's a mystery. Where in the hell did Damian Williams' carries go? And what play? What did that get contributed
Damian
to?
I think he was out last night.
No, I understand. Yeah. Where did his carries go? I didn't ask where Damian Williams go.
I got you.
I don't care where he went. Where did his carries go? And just like Kareem Hunt's carries, where are they? I don't see an uptick for Montgomery or for Nick Chubb in this respective aspect. I'm not seeing a whole lot happening on the passing game. On the passing side is making me say, okay, I can see where the man missed me.
Justin Fields did throw for the most times that I think we've seen him throw all season, 29 passes. So I mean,
he threw a lot. I think in that Tampa game, if I'm not mistaken.
Fair. I mean,
that's what I'm saying. We don't have the actual number, so we don't have to get into that. And I don't know how we got from Atlanta back to Chicago, but hey,
Cordell Patterson is the link.
Cordell Patterson, there it is. Okay, Cordarrelle. Sorry,
Cordero Patterson.
Dude, what is your name? How do you really? Who is Felipe Franks? I'm sorry. I just seen it.
This game though was so weird because it was like this was a shift of momentum multiple times in the fourth quarter where it was all Atlanta going into the fourth quarter, then 15 minutes all the way down to 5. Those 10 minutes, it was all New Orleans, and then boom, right at the end, right at the very end, it was a kick from young Oku that took it right back. Well, it was the pass to Cordero Patterson from Matt Ryan, and then boom, the kick.
And I know we slam Atlanta a lot. However, they have some very nice weapons. I have to really say, if there was any out of like the Jacksonville's, the Jets, the Lions, this is the team I'm most impressed with out of the 4. That I think they got the most potential of turning their ship around the fastest.
Well, yeah, because you just got to replace the quarterback.
Yes, and Matt Ryan is serviceable in the meantime, but they should be really.
They need to address the quarterback, and they need to address their defense for sure.
I do you one better. Teddy Bridgewater in Atlanta. I like that because all they need is a game manager, and then you can continue building what you need to build. You don't have to go get a young quarterback. You got a seasoned vet sitting there that Denver is not interested in. I know we got into a whole new segment here. Let me say that. However, I digress. Just want to say quickly, shout out to Mark Ingram, 9 for 43.
Yeah,
that is impressive. I'm like, where have you been, sir? Since week 1.
He needed Sean Payton. That's what it is.
Man,
he needed to be back with Sean Payton.
Oh my God, Houston, stop. Stop. Yeah, you're killing
Baltimore, stop.
I mean,
he did good
free,
Baltimore.
I'm finished.
That last year.
Free Philip Lindsay, please. Not David Johnson. Philip Lindsay.
Yeah, hold on to David Johnson.
Philip Lindsay, please. Because the man
he is not re-signing there.
He has a career. He has he has so many years ahead. I mean, he just, oh my God.
He has so much life to look forward to.
Philip Lindsay, just rest. Get healthy. Don't worry about an audition. Dude, you're in Houston. Everybody would understand. Let's move on.
All right. Vegas drops a ugly game to the Giants, 16-23. The Giants pull out the victory. Xavier McKinney, I guess, MVP of this game. 2 picks off of, and I think I told you this over the phone when I was watching this game. This was the New York Giants defense getting after Vegas's offense more than this was just mental mistakes from Derek Carr. Like, they were making them think that they had wide open passes, and Xavier McKinney was just like, nope, I tricked you on that one. Ha, got you again. Like, just straight up toying with Derek Carr in this game. No, it's just what I feel like the Giants are a team that, yeah, this was a good game. Vegas, this was, this one's tough. I really don't have to, like, there's not really any synopsis to base this game on. It's just that this is a bad game from Vegas defensively for sure, but then also just Derek Carr, you got to be better at trying to disguise some things and making some of these defensive backs put them on their heels, because you're just throwing the ball up and handing it to them basically.
Yeah,
especially late.
I see 2 of the same teams on. It just one in the AFC, one in, they remind. There's, oh my God, these 2 teams are so similar to me where I never want to pick them. But I'm not surprised when they win a game. They have good quality. I mean, for New York, they have nice offensive weapons. They don't have any chemistry. They don't have an offensive line, really. They have a suspect quarterback, but have some very nice skilled position players outside of that. And they have a suspect quarterback. Sneaky, suspect, okay to average defense that can show up from time to time. I understand that. This was one of those games where
this is an Xavier McKinney career game to me.
I could see that.
Just took all the life out of Vegas and late in this game. Just made sure that they didn't have a chance at getting back into it.
And since this Gruden situation, we don't know who Vegas is now.
Oh God, Vegas is
they
in
don't have an
such
identity.
flux.
They're
We'll
not
talk about that in a
right.
second
They're
too.
not crap. They just don't have an identity. But
Yeah.
I'll let you take it. I digress from that.
No, I have something to say about Vegas in our next segment.
Okay.
There's a bit going on over there, so we'll get into that in later. But congrats to the Giants. You're right there in the thick of things in the NFC East. So you can get that second place spot, no problem. So that's that. Patriots absolutely dominate the Panthers. And it looks like Sam Darnold might be losing his job pretty soon. He came out there 172 yards in 3 interceptions on 16 to 33 passing. Stevenson from New England, he came out and absolutely took over the game. 10 carries for 62 yards, really just being that pacing back, really the pace car, making sure that clock continues to run.
Mm-hmm.
Christian McCaffrey's return game, again, these injury reports are just straight up lies until Sunday to me. So
I get it.
4
now.
receptions for 54 yards. And what did he do rushing wise?
Not enough.
Not enough. 14 carries for 52 yards. No touchdowns, but hey, a serviceable game. I mean,
yeah, he looks solid.
18 carries for 106 total yards. You'll take that. So my only thing is why the hell is Chuba Hubbard only getting 3 carries and 2 targets? So,
and this is it speaks to what they've been doing basically since week 4. Just tail spinning, trying to figure it out, and it seems now what seems to be consistent is Matt Rule obviously likes a featured back offensive system.
Yeah, he doesn't want to run a dual
matter
dual
who
system.
It is. It's like it's one guy, and
yep.
So that's what I took from that. Where that's no knock to Chuba Hubbard. Y'all have 2 solid running backs on your team.
At this point, though, it's just like I feel like from what we've seen from Chuba Hubbard as Christian McCaffrey's been out both this year and last year, I think he's too much of an asset to either not use or not trade away and get compensation back for. Because if you're going to run a single running back system, you can get a serviceable backup. Just about. I mean, we just saw Adrian Peterson come off the damn street and look pretty damn good. So
Mike Davis last year. So.
Exactly. So go ahead, go find one of those other guys, whether it's in the draft or in free agency. Get one of the old vet heads to come in and make sure that you have somebody for when Christian McCaffrey goes down, because it's at this point it feels like a when he's going down, not a if he's going down.
Exactly, and he has 54 yards receiving, led the team in receiving, and that's fine.
Led the team
but
in rushing
the fact
too.
that you have this dual threat, this is where you can exploit and utilize Chuba Hubbard to his strength. Let him carry the heavy down, the heavy workload, preserves Christian McCaffrey, continue to use him in the passing game, and you have you have 2 threats on the field at the same time. And let's get real. They have severely fallen behind on the progression of Terrence Marshall Jr. this year.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to happen this year. The complete miss on my part. However, very excited about this guy going forward in the future years. And then you have the Robbie Anderson. Robbie Anderson experiment has went south.
Yeah.
And DJ Moore, serviceable.
You mean he's getting double teamed on every play?
Right. He's very solid play. I'm just he putting a serviceable effort out there, but he needs help, and that's the point. And Terrence Marshall Jr. is just not. He's a rookie. He's not ready yet. And with this new quarterback that is struggling, it's not going to help that situation. But my point is, use CMC to your advantage, where you can actually keep this guy on the field, as opposed to you're going to just keep going to go right back to square one. And like you said, it's not if, it's when. And I'm putting the clock on it. So we in week 10. By week 13, I think he's going back down in some way, shape, or form.
Okay.
Let's run it out there. When is they bye week, or did they already have it?
I think it passed.
I want to say it did, but I want to make sure it's not one of those like week 14 buys or something like that.
Of course, ESPN doesn't show me if.
No, you can never jump around there quickly.
13.
Week 13. That's what I thought.
They still have their bye coming up.
So that's 10, 11. There's still 3 more weeks. So I want to. I'm throwing it out there.
Yeah, he will be out week 13. You're right. Okay.
With an injury.
No, yeah.
I said by week 13. I didn't say on week 13.
I just
I
think
give him
that
3 weeks.
I
though.
will say New England. This team is just they're right there in the hunt. I think they currently right now do have the 7th seed if the playoffs started today. So this is a team that sneakily they can get one on you, and this team, as much as we talk about all these other teams being a tough out in like Philadelphia, Atlanta, Denver at this point, a few other teams out there, of just being tough teams to play and teams that are not just a cakewalk from week to week.
Mm-hmm.
New England is one of those teams as well, where it's just like, yeah, they might have a rookie at quarterback, but this dude is going to make sure that you pay, whether it's with this dink and dunk stuff or just going out there and making a play here or there to put you over the top. So, yeah, that's a tough team to play against.
They tied for 7 with I'm not sure who has the tiebreaker between them, Cleveland, and Kansas City. So
Gotcha.
I don't want to presume they have the tiebreaker. I have no idea who would have it. Definitely, it either is going to have.
I
to
think
be
it would
Kansas
be
City.
New England has it.
It was going to say it has to be Kansas City or New England because Kansas City already beat Cleveland in head-to-head. So
yes. New England has a tiebreaker currently over Cleveland and Kansas City based on best win percentage in conference games.
Got it.
So,
not factoring Murderers Row at all. We're not going to factor that, but because I know New England just played every top division team, and Bill Belichick just defied the odds.
Relax.
No, that didn't happen.
Relax. Let's jump to the next one. Congrats to New England, by the way. Again, just gotta make sure we give them their props. This one I think is the upset of the damn week. Jesus Christ, the Bills 6 freaking points against the Jaguars. Put up 9 to get the win. Not a single touchdown scored in this game. We briefly lost Trevor Lawrence in this game. Josh Allen for the Jacksonville Jaguars was the one who was kind of the MVP of this game. He was always around the damn football. And Josh Allen for the Buffalo Bills looked like Josh Allen in his rookie year.
Yes. Yeah, like this Allen kid that we used to call. Who is this? Yeah.
God, this game was horrible.
There was ever a game you had to drop, and I had to really put my life on it and just seal it. This is a done deal. We're good. Just
I think
money.
We took Buffalo and the points.
Checks in the mail. Man, oh my God! Exactly. What the hell happened? I'm not pissed. I'm confused. Like
I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
I mean, every time I'm ready to say, I'm just like, man, I am really worried. I already seen a debacle happen in Kansas City. The kingdom is crumbling from the back. The back of the kingdom is starting to crumble, and they're getting infiltrated right now. And in the midst of all of this, okay, Buffalo, y'all obviously are the next team up and ready to just move and state your, plant your flag and just we that team.
Yeah.
And now 2 of the last 4 weeks, it's like, what? This one? Come on.
Which is funny because this is also, I think on Twitter, it's been considered this is Buffalo's bye month. They had their bye week a few weeks ago. They had the New York Jets, I think. Was it New York Jets last week?
Yeah. With them.
No, New York Jets are next week. They had somebody last week that was just a cakewalk. They had the Jacksonville Jaguars this week, and so it was just like it was cakewalk. Dolphins. So it was just cakewalk after cakewalk after cakewalk, and a bye week in there as well. And now it's just like, okay, wow. How do you drop this game? But it comes down to, I think, the Bills never got I know Zach Moss goes down in this game, but you still got Devin Singletary, or is Devin Singletary down too?
No, he came back.
He came back. Okay, so you got Devin Singletary, you got Stephon Diggs, you got Emmanuel Sanders, you have all of these weapons. You got Cole Beasley. Use one of them as a running back. Use one of them in the jet sweep. Todd Sweeney. Like, you got Sweeney Todd. Well, go ahead and throw him out there.
Gabriel Davis, that is the handcuff to Dawson Knox. If anybody didn't know.
Yeah, it's just at this point, I'm like, what the heck? How were you not able to get? It's literally the fact that they don't have a run game. That needs to be their number one thing that they address this offseason, because they've got the defense figured out clearly. They've got the passing game figured out when Josh Allen isn't throwing 2 interceptions and then fumbling the ball.
Right.
But I mean, he still had. If you take away the interceptions, he was 31 for 47 and 264 yards.
Yeah, I mean, man, if he could have got a touchdown, they would have at least been able to. Well, he would have completely reconciled the week after that matter. I was thinking that just stats alone. I'm like, you would have won the game. It's like, what am I talking about here?
Yeah,
you just did your damn job for 1 quarter, just 1 quarter. You didn't have to do it for the other 3. That's all it would have took the week to beat. And my point is, if Buffalo just takes another back seat. And now I have to reexamine this team, because it's like, I don't know if they necessarily
now they gotta really prove it to me that you're that team in the
right.
NFC.
I ain't gonna say they don't have the clutch gene, but I mean, y'all have a way of just going
Drop
out there.
Some really suspect games this year.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, I can't feel confident you going into playoffs thinking like, yeah, they just gonna steamroll through. Man, let me see you get kicked. Let's kick off, and I gotta watch y'all play. It's just, I don't feel confident knowing that they can drop games like this, because there's no rhyme or reason to it, and they'll come back next week and score 35. It's just
this is what I'm expecting them to do against the Jets. I'm expecting them to score 50 against the Jets.
But are we now?
I am.
Is it responsible to really?
Dawson Knox is going to be back. They're going to be just fine.
Because we know who the true MVP. Buffalo fans, Buffalo Nation, whatever y'all call yourselves out there, Bills Nation,
Bills Mafia,
Bills Mafia. Wow. Yeah, in northern New York State. Sure. Yeah. I mean, y'all can. I ain't gonna say it can never be as painful. Y'all can rank this kind of loss over there with that Super Bowl, them 4 Super Bowl runs.
I don't think you can. Those are 2 separate things.
Not really. It is, but
God.
It ain't all at the same time. It comes with that kind of shocker. Like,
that's quite a take.
How can you do this? You can't be this damn good and lose to this team. Like, it's like, I mean, high highs and low lows. That's all I'm saying. It just when there's no middle ground, no substance in the. I'm sorry, I'm out. You just you're not gonna.
They're gonna have to earn my trust back after this one.
And I certainly don't want to see this followed up, which will just completely teach nobody anything. If they find a way in like weeks 17, 18, and just all of a sudden they catch lightning in the bottle, run the table, and what is that to be said about this nonsense? It's still everything, because there's a problem. Yeah, I'm out. They're still in the talks. They're not the lead. They're not the lead dog right now.
Not at the moment. They take a hit this week, losing this game the way that they did.
Oh, this is vicious. This is like Alabama losing to Illinois. Yeah, it's that's Nate. Yeah, you seen Illinois football in the last
no, because they suck.
2 decades.
No, because they suck.
I would say 3, but I honestly, yeah.
Do they have a football team all the way back then?
They don't have one now.
True. That is so true. All right.
Horrible
Ravens are taking on the Vikings. They get an overtime victory, 34-31. Lamar Jackson, 266 yards on 27 of 41 passing, 3 touchdowns. Lamar Jackson, 21 carries for 120 yards. No, I'm kidding. Marquise Brown, 9 receptions for 116 yards. This is for what we've been saying and what I've been kind of harping on this entire time. When it comes to the Ravens, their biggest weakness is their receiving core. But hey, Marquise Brown got after it today. He finally showed that he can be a serviceable wide receiver. I don't think I have an issue with him being a part of your receiving core. I just wish they had a true consistent number one. That's the difference to me. But every now and again, you can have a game like this. So that's one thing. Marquise Brown, props to you for having a fantastic game. But this is Lamar Jackson's show. I mean, he's really trying to make a bid for the MVP race right now.
He has a legitimate claim. I mean, legit. Like, if not, he should be leading. um,
I have some things to talk about
we
with
we
that,
could get into that.
we
But
will later.
he has a very strong case for MVP.
Yeah.
Period, hands down.
Oh,
I
for
mean,
sure.
he's definitely in the talks.
If
but-
he wins it, it's not like something I'm gonna be like, oh, that's a like you're not
No.
gonna be up in arms about him winning
and
MVP.
it's not like it's just like the hot new toy that just
Yeah.
came out either. It's
This is
he's
consistency, and
legitimately
it's
putting in
the
that work.
fact that now you can so rookie season you didn't even trust him to start the season. You still had Joe Flacco out there. You still rolled him out. You put him out there during the playoffs when kind of things started to fall apart with Joe Flacco, and you guys backdoor your way into the playoffs, and then boom, you have this game where you have the questions of, oh, now that he's running quarterbacks, definitely what are you going to do when they start fumbling the ball like crazy? But that's one thing. Then he has another. Last year, 2 years ago rather, he had an MVP season.
Mm-hmm.
Then he comes back in the following year and has a statement win in the playoffs. So I will say he has gotten progressively better every year. But the biggest thing is that you're coming out of last year. You were like, okay, he's definitely gotten better as a passer, but can you trust him as a passer? This game, I think, is kind of making that statement. I think it's kind of we've already taken that turn down that road of saying that this dude can be trusted as the quarterback and the runner and the leading rusher of your team. But this game really starts to put the pedal down on that turn. Like you're just going off with it because now this was 41 pass attempts. And you get 266 yards and 3 touchdowns and no interceptions.
You have 2.
Oh, you did?
You have 2.
I missed those. Rather,
it doesn't matter. I mean,
when you make up for it with the touchdowns, and you make up for it when you're on the ground, 21 carries for 120 yards. That's specifically himself, 386 yards of total offense. Just Lamar Jackson.
Exactly, and another reference to a dual threat, player, and this is the definition of what a utility player is. Is like just filling in and plugging in the holes where needed, and he did that. Has to pass the ball, don't have a stud receiving core, but has serviceable wide receivers.
So he's doing this without a number 1 wide receiver,
and arguably not even a number 2. But
that's a question for another day.
But Sammy Watkins, ever coming back? And then you got the rookie guy, and of course Hollywood Brown. But
Rob Bateman had a nice day.
No, he did. Overall, I'm just saying, no, it was no knock. It was just showing that you don't see that type of success with that kind of setup on anybody's team. It just Lamar Jackson has picked up the slack wherever it was needed outside of the defense. And if you want to sit there and spin it and say, well, his great offense is his defense, like fine, he's doing everything, and I mean literally doing it all, in spite of what's going on here. Now, personally, I'm pissed at Minnesota. I'm pissed for it's very, very rare. You'll find me rooting for them for some reason or another.
Yeah.
And this one, for the sake of the AFC battle and all this, and and Baltimore's had some suspect wins, and there's been some very close games and stuff because they're having some defensive issues, which is a very weird thing that's happening right now this year. But I digress. Need to hear another. Now, I'm saying I'm having a problem with Minnesota after, and this was specifically and especially after last night's game.
Oh yeah.
Now, the Bears lose and Minnesota lose. The Bears had the game taken from them. Minnesota did everything to give the game away. And I'm like, why the hell did you even go to Baltimore if you're not even trying to win the game? It was just like, my goodness. And if every single time I root for this team, they never show up. I don't care what scenario it is. It does not matter. This is why I don't fool with the purple. It's just, Minnesota fans, I ain't gonna even say I feel y'all pain. Y'all idiots to continue to put y'all emotions on the line for a team, a franchise that's suspect.
You cannot trust a team that continues to trot out a quarterback that a solid performance from him is 17 for 28, 187 yards, and 2 touchdowns. The only thing that is good from that is that he does not turn the ball over by throwing it to the other team.
Oh, I'm not done with the fan base. Let me get. I don't know if you caught this. Maybe you did. Maybe you didn't. Minnesota fans, I have to say that I'm done with the game.
Okay.
Baltimore, congrats. Y'all pulled it off. I wasn't really against y'all like that. I was just saying if I had to choose somebody, I was taking Minnesota for this, just for the sake of a shakeup in the AFC. Whatever. That's neither here nor there. Minnesota, y'all didn't want it. Y'all didn't want it enough, and y'all lost it. This is my thing. I think y'all should have gotten enough of obnoxiously doing this damn skull chant on the road. It can't be more disrespectful than somebody running out to the star and posing in Dallas. It's the same difference. They're in the stands.
You want to stop it, buy the damn tickets. That's all I'm saying.
No, I'm saying you're in Baltimore.
Yeah.
And I'm like, of course, we've seen it. NFC Championship. They're going to go on the damn Philadelphia Rocky steps. And then, really, y'all traveled all the way over there to do that nonsense? It's nonsense.
And they get ramrodded by the Eagles? Absolutely.
And then this is deep in the fourth quarter. They started doing it in the stand. I couldn't believe what I was like.
I didn't catch that. I did not see that.
I'm not even a Baltimore Ravens fan. I felt so disrespected. Like, you really going to go to other people's stadiums
I bet
with
one
this
of those
nonsense?
Minnesota fans got knocked out. Right there in the stands. I would
sure
not be
if I
surprised.
Google it, I will find some kind of incident has happened after that game, because it's just a level of, you know what, for a fan, that's bush league. That's the way to really come down to. There's some things you can and can't do. Like that's like me going over to Dallas as an example. Not doing it as a star. I use any other team. Give me any other team. Any other team.
Let's go with the Steelers.
Me going to Heinz Field, me and 40 of us, and we just started doing a tomahawk chop all throughout the game.
Yeah.
Like it's just
not in that stadium. Yeah,
it's just my point exactly. And you said Pittsburgh, even better, even greater. It's really gonna make my point for me. That's what that. I'm like, have y'all not learned anything from history? Like secure the victory and then do the little they fan base is so ass backwards to me. I'm sorry. And I don't mean no disrespect in the aspect that y'all are not intelligent or anything like that. It's just y'all fan.
You picked the freaking Vikings to root for. Sorry.
I didn't pick them to root for.
No. I'm saying you said.
Yeah. Oh, I got you. I got It's 31 other teams, man. I would look. This is a good time to jump off. That's all I'm throwing out there. Moving on.
Well. Yeah, the game again. Congrats to the Ravens. That was a good win for you guys to pick that one up. Vikings gotta do better. Chargers took on the Eagles. They get a win, a close one, in a 27-24 victory for the Chargers on the road. Kind of getting back right. Justin Herbert.
Great player.
Yeah, I know. Justin Herbert had himself a day. 32 for 38. Just, again, damn near perfect. 356 yards and 2 touchdowns on the day. They played really well, especially with kind of Austin Eckler taking a back seat today, 2 days ago. 17 carries for 59 yards and no touchdowns. And then Keenan Allen showed back up again, finally. Jesus Christ, I've been waiting for him to
Where he been?
Get back to it. But now he's still on my roster in my starting lineup. 12 receptions, 104 yards on 13 targets. That's massive.
Welcome back, sir.
Welcome
back, Mr.
Jesus.
Allen. Man.
Let's keep that up. I don't really have much to say about Philadelphia because didn't have a lot of your guys in this game. Plus, Jalen Hurts looked serviceable for a young quarterback. 11 for 17, 162 yards and a touchdown. Solid game there. Jordan Howard, Jesus Christ, looking like Chicago Jordan Howard. 17 carries, 71 yards and a touchdown.
Look at Jalen Hurts, right up under.
True. 10 for 62.
Something I'm saying. We just bragged and did the whole, Lamar Jackson thing. This a poor man's version of the same thing.
264 total yards of offense, or 200
Right. I mean,
Yeah,
like, man, give him 40, 50 more yards and another touchdown. Hey, guess what? Good game.
it's true.
Just saying, like, his numbers were good. It's just when you're losing, the numbers kind of get skewed and people stop to tend to not look at him. I'm like, he's very efficient.
He's a good player, and it's just going to be a matter of can Philadelphia put a team around him is really what that comes down to. But good win for the Chargers, getting, like I said, getting back on track here, kind of getting. I mean, they're taking command. They're trying to take command and pull away in this crowded AFC West division right now.
Shout out to
Devontae Smith, yeah,
5 for 116 and a touchdown.
had himself a day.
Yeah, and then look at his look who the heir apparent passed up, Jalen Rager. I'm so
That was a bad.
so.
You know what's funny?
Oh God, that was horrible.
You know who that could have been?
I have no idea.
That could have been Justin Jefferson. They passed up on Justin. They traded up to go get Jalen Rager instead of getting Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, this guy's a mess. when come next year or so, I don't know why. I expect to see him in Vegas at some point. I don't know. Raiders have a tendency of just picking up these obscure wide receivers from just wherever.
Raiders receivers and corners over there are looking really suspect right now, so let's hope that's not the case. The Chiefs get a win, back on track. What is that? Back-to-back wins against the Packers. Packers fall to 7-2. No.
Oh, yeah.
Aaron Rodgers in this
20
game.
To 17 and 13 to 7. I mean, impressive.
2 weeks, yeah, absolutely. Man,
back.
hey, they really made it tough for Jordan Love to get anything going offensively over there, and the Chiefs defense finally puts up a very respectable performance. And offensively, still have a lot to freaking figure out.
Gonna have to put an ABP out of here on this offense because since week 8 or week 7, haven't seen him.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what 27 points in 2 weeks. That's
not enough.
That's usually what you do in the third quarter. Throwing it out there, but that's a problem. There's a problem brewing, and now when we can say that the defense looked better than the offense,
it's when we were already questioning this defense.
It's worse than you think.
Yeah,
this
is not good.
No, God, they're rolling at like bubble team level right now, like just suspectly, just make a break 500. Y'all are not that team. I mean, y'all defense, damn, worse, but. That offense is too damn good, and I've seen this model before. This was the 90s Miami Dolphins model with Dan Marino. High-powered offense and very, very suspect defense, and the offense always carried the team. All I'm saying is the model does work. It don't win championships, but it will give you the playoffs.
Yeah.
But right now, I don't think they have subscribed to trying to figure out whether their issues are on the offensive or the defensive side. I just think that the defense has been so bad. It is now starting to affect the offense.
Do you think this is more of this game specifically, going back to Kansas City, Green Bay, was this more of Kansas City not figuring out and not being efficient as an offense, or is this more about Green Bay's defense stepping up?
Well, Green Bay does have the tendency of showing up defensively from time to time, and more times than not, I will give them credit. They seem to step up in the bigger games. Mm-hmm. They just seem to, when it matters most, they defense show up. When it don't matter most, they don't.
Their defense plays up to the competition, but also plays down to their competition.
Absolute, 100%. And that's the thing. A very chameleon type defense. So it unfortunately cannot go under the category of good. But they good defense performance showed up, and you can't. If you telling me you quote unquote held Kansas City to 13 in the loss, are you telling me that y'all defense, that's like number one defense, type of stuff, and that's not the vibe I got watching the game. And so I know what we're saying, like just based on the score. The score is very misleading to what was really going on. I mean, again, Kansas City is just struggling on both sides of the ball. The defense did look better, but that does not mean that the defense has been fixed because is not.
I will say, if this is any indication of what Green Bay is going to look like without Aaron Rodgers, can't freaking wait. Aaron Rodgers to Denver is all I gotta say. All right.
I'm good with that.
Arizona took on San Francisco in a divisional tilt later on in the day. 31-17. They absolutely decimated this San Francisco team. And I think that is, as you were just gesturing, the finishing blow to San Francisco this year, where they lose a divisional game without Kyler Murray to go up against, without DeAndre Hopkins to go against, and I do believe still no J.J. Watt to go against.
Nope. Hey, J.J. Watt, I think, is done for the season.
Oh, yeah. He's going to have season-ending surgery. So,
and takes the series sweep.
Yeah, they manhandled them. I mean, Jimmy Garoppolo tried to put up a respectable performance in the second half, like he did against Chicago, but this one did not turn out the same way.
So, in essence, Arizona got caught on a short week facing a Green Bay team who
caught lightning in a bottle without their receivers.
Desperately playing. Yeah, exactly. And it's, Arizona's that team. I mean, that if there was any indication to come back and go to San Francisco and do what you just did.
James freaking Conner, 21 carries, 96 yards, 2 touchdowns, and might I add, a receiving stat line of 5 receptions for 77 yards and an additional touchdown. What a dude.
Definitely team MVP. I mean,
MVP of the week.
MVP of the week. Definitely player of the week or the day or whatever you want to call it. Whatever they use.
FedEx Ground Player of the Week.
Right. Exactly. That just, that USPS dialed it in award or whatever, did it all.
He was fantastic this game. I mean, he had multiple big plays. I think he had at least 3 plays of over 20 yards, and he had one 40-yard reception that went for the touchdown.
Now,
so,
and if anybody remember, the man used to be a featured back. So I think
this is a testament.
Arizona figured it out. The thing is, you can't run.
You
can't. Oh, go ahead.
Arizona just has an offensive line compared to him in Pittsburgh with that suspect offensive line. You saw what the hell happened to Najee Harris last night.
He got a touchdown in the first quarter.
He didn't get a touchdown in the first quarter, whatever, but he was shut down for the rest of the game. Najee Harris didn't do anything after that. No, he had one big play. It was a 14-yard carry.
True. We can't get into those stats. Refs got it all into, so it happened, but it didn't happen. So I get it, but you right. Back to Conner.
But that's what I was saying. This is the difference between a good offensive line and a bad offensive line, and how this can completely shape a career. He is having this is a completely different James Conner than what we've seen in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, this man, almost 100 yards on the ground, damn near almost 100 in the air.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, this game. This is arguably. Could we say this was his best game of his career? Because I can't remember him having a 3 touchdown game in the past. In general,
I would say so. The only thing I would be looking for is stop freaking putting the ball on the damn turf. Can you stop fumbling, please? It happens too often. It's like once a week. It's whether it's recovered or not.
Right.
At least it feels like every single week he's putting the ball on the turf. That's the only thing. That's the only gripe that I have with James Conner at this point.
Yeah. Got to see 2 featured. They threw out 2. Man, Arizona's deep. Like now we got this. What is it? Benjamin.
Oh yeah, Benjamin had himself a pretty solid game. I mean, 9 for 39, and he had 1 touchdown. I mean, we're only going to see more James Conner with the fact that Chase Edmonds has gone down.
Right. And exactly. And so Edmonds going to be out for a few weeks. So we'll see. Hopefully they don't, all of a sudden he comes out there, gets 3 carries, and then go into oblivion again. But to see next man up and see him step it up, and then, man, Anton Antonio Wesley. I
Oh
didn't
yeah,
know they
that
had
one I
another wide
was
receiver.
confused. I was like, who the hell is that?
Wide receiver number 6, wide receiver 6 on the depth chart. But still, and had a solid day. It's and no Kyler Murray. That's
No
the
Kyler.
bigger
Yeah,
thing.
this is all with Colt McCoy.
I said that. Leaving out the whole
DeAndre
Hopkins. They that team.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna leave it at that. They are that team. I don't care what y'all. You say what you want to say. Arizona's that team. So
And then defensively, they shut down Elijah Mitchell, who has been going off from week 2. Like
Elijah who?
8 for 36, no touchdowns. When Elijah Mitchell has been absolutely kind of setting the league on fire for the last 3-4 weeks,
and made this team one. Their defense made San Francisco one-dimensional. It was just an air attack. Forced Jimmy Garoppolo to just air it out. Not his strength. Jimmy Garoppolo is a balanced attack quarterback, and they took that run game completely away. And Elijah Mitchell was completely a non-factor.
All right. Tennessee goes on the road as well this week. This was the other upset. Jesus Christ. And really gave the Rams the business. 28-16. I mean, this was over in the first half. 21-3, and then they just kind of coasted for the rest of the game.
Yeah, played the clock out, and just clock management. Tennessee is we were discussing offline. I'm just off air. I believe they become that new tough out team, taking the role of what I usually would reserve to Philadelphia. Just as that number one, you just don't want to face this team on your schedule. Period.
The only thing is that they win though. That's the only difference
Philadelphia
between Tennessee and
used to win. I'm not talking about Philadelphia today. I'm talking about historically, but just like over the last decade or so. It's just that was like they have become that team. Like you just do not want to really face this team. I mean, you can beat them, but it ain't gonna go. You're gonna have a few people on the injury list. You're losing something after this game. To win, you have to lose. It's almost. And I don't. Oh God, I wouldn't want to see them on my schedule. Yes, can they be beat? Absolutely. It is going to just affect your overall success and continuity and consistency and whatever it is you're doing. And if you're rolling, they're gonna come in there and disrupt that. And just whether it's a win or a loss, they're disrupting it one way or another. But to go into LA and just literally look them dead in the eye and smack them in the mouth and walk away.
Yeah.
You couldn't have told me I seen that coming because I didn't. It just seemed like the Rams just got stalled. They were stalled in the gate, and they just the gate opened and nothing. The horse just sat there for a minute. So they just got going too late in the game. And I guess again on any given Sunday, any team can just don't have it that week for whatever reason, or don't have it in the first half. But
that was my takeaway.
This was that situation. They just came out flat in the first half.
Yeah. And they could never get it back going. It looked like once they got jumped on top of by Tennessee, it looked like Sean McVay was at a loss for ideas on how to fix it. So when you have Sean McVay looking confused on the sideline, you're like, all right, let's pack it in. Let's just make sure everybody stays healthy. We'll play this game out, and we're just gonna go compete for next week. That's what we're doing.
I would have lost everything I owned in this game. If somebody would,
I would never bet this game. Tennessee.
No. If sports bettor came to me and was like, "I'm gonna give you the Rams and the points, take it off. It's good." I would have lost everything. They didn't even cover the spread.
They didn't.
I'm like 7.5. Come on, at home on a Sunday night. It's just like, oh my God, everything was set up for, man, this is a slam dunk. I'm finna win $3 million. now I owe $3 million, and now I'm in hiding. They're after me. I don't have $3 million.
That is going to put a bookend on week 9 of the NFL. This was hated week 9. This is horrible. Refs sucked. Football sucked.
Yeah, Sunday and Monday night is not good to you.
So that is going to wrap that up.